this. Anytime I'm going to go live like this, I'm going to invite all my friends from the enlightened Western men's groups or anything that is referred to that has anything to do with the reasons, valid reasons why many people, many men go overseas. I want to give you guys some backstory that are very funny. Funny stories. And it goes back before we were emailing and sending pictures over the internet. And was my friend Brian's father, who was in Costa Rica. You see that? Been painting. We putting letters on the firehouse, on the fire academy. So, got paint on my hands, so what up? Anyway, he was sending Brian back pictures of all the girls he was dating in Costa Rica. And he was showing me these pictures. They were fresh out of the shower, just smoking hot, beautiful. He had just retired from the postal service. He was taking what little money he had, and he went down to Costa Rica, and he was living in a small little place, and he was just living a dream, man. And I was just so, damn, man. One day, I want to do the same thing. And the thing is that I'd probably been doing it my whole life because I've been overseas my whole life. So that was my first experience with a passport bro back in the day. Now, he was not American, okay? His name was Gutierrez, and I believe he might have been Cuban. And he was just a cool guy, man. I remember he worked for the post office. And he was sending like Polaroids back in the mail with a letter to his sons. Hi guys, I'm being a degenerate and I'm having fun. And he was sending one letter or so a month, and he would mail a letter to his boys, and they would show me, and I would go, whoa, he's going out with girls that pretty? I want to go out with a girl that pretty too. So you know what? That changed my whole mindset that there's another world outside of the world. Now remember, guys, if you guys remember a movie, it was called Romancing the Stone. It was a movie about two white people that they ended up in the jungle looking for a big, giant piece of emerald that was lost or stolen or something like that. And they somehow found it. Well, in the meantime, they were in Colombia in the jungle, and they had to like live inside of this like temporary shelter. It was a downed aircraft or something, and it still had like bales of weed on it or something. And in order to stay warm, they had to burn the weed and like stay close. Of course, yeah, right. So anyway, they end up finding this emerald. But the first thing that I understand about Colombia is that they landed in this jungle area near Cartagena. And I initially think Romancing the Stone, I think Cartagena is nothing but jungle. There's people out there with machetes ready to kill you, you know, like natives or headhunters. And it is not like that whatsoever. Now, there are people who walk around with machetes on, and they're not people that are out to hurt people. In fact, a lot of these people are vigilantes, and they will fuck you up, okay? So if you go like snooping around someone's farm, they're not going to call the police. There's people just walking around checking out other people, you know what I mean, and checking on other people that are always doing trading and stuff like that. So Colombians are very like tight knit. So anyway, the second thing I wanted to talk about, you guys, is that, you know, we built a fire academy, a school. We really did it, and I'm grateful, man. Everybody came through, and it was a great year. See, the thing is that last year was just a trial run. I wasn't even sure. I was sure. There was no doubt in my mind that I was going to do this. Whether or not it succeeded or not, it didn't matter to me. I was going to do this. I was compelled by the living God to go wherever he was telling me to go. Because let me tell you guys something. I was in rescue training in Mexico City. Wrong answer. He sent me to Puebla. Wrong answer. Sent me here. And I'm like, here, really? I didn't think I was coming back here. Gave me the most beautiful house you could ever imagine in the most perfect neighborhood where they were redoing all the streets. And they were making it all pretty again. And then it turns out that there's an abandoned park right behind here, behind the firehouse. And we went there as a team like 30 of me and like 8, all these recruits with machetes, and clean the whole park and pull all the trash. And then the whole community like recognized this immediately. It's like, who are these fucking foreigners over here cleaning up our park? Because it was abandoned. They had like grass up to the eyeballs, and it had like broken glass and snakes and shit. So we went in there, cut everything down, cleaned it up. And so that became our park. See? I mean, and see, here you get when you clean up parks, you get girls. So it's what it is. But anyway, the best thing about that is not the recognition or anything like that, is that I did not expect anybody to participate. And I was told that to my face. People are not going to participate with you because you are white. You have blue eyes. You are higher status than them. And I'm like, who are these people that are so negative about me fixing the park or having a day for the kids? Doesn't make any sense, because if it's beneficial to the community, why oppose it? It doesn't make any sense to me. We want to have bounce houses. What's wrong with that? We could have 15, people like monitoring all these kids. Nothing could possibly happen. We have paramedics on site, because we're all paramedics or we're all firefighters. We all have medical training. So it's not like a shortage of any of that. In addition to that, we had so many mothers there. It was like 80% mothers and little kids that were ages 7 to 12 years old. There were 700 kids that showed up. First of all, they told me I couldn't do it. No, your bounce houses are too high. I was like, why? That's stupid. Why? We're all medical trained. What is the problem here? No, because you need to have permission. Like, from who? To do what? These are all our kids. This is the whole neighborhood bringing their kids to the fucking park. Why can't they just sign off on it? Send an ambulance. No, okay, I'm not going to fight with anybody. Guys, whip it in half. We're going to say zip it in and motherfucking zip it out, because you know why? I'll tell you why. We're going to do exactly like I said. And to hell with it. It's better, really. I've learned being here, you really got to ask for forgiveness rather than ask for permission. That's the way shit operates. I don't give a fuck. When they break the fucking rules, nobody gives a shit. So I decided, you know what? If they're going to do that shit to us as a community, I'm going to do this anyway, and it's just going to be a shame on you. Shame on you for not supporting the guys who are here as volunteers. And all we're doing is helping the kids. 700 kids showed up. My friends are laughing with me. I'm like, I can't believe they said no one would participate. I cannot believe they said, you can't do this. No one's going to come. They were wrong as hell. So just so you guys know, this was a political thing. It has nothing to do with me personally. It was just anybody who seems to be in conflict with whomever, the powers that be. And since they cannot take away anything from me, so, I mean, I don't own anything. This is nothing more than a foundation. It's a charity organization that doesn't make any money. In fact, I pay money to stay here. Okay? To give you guys an idea, you probably spend 125% of what I get a month giving it away to help kids out. So there's no greed here. There's no motivation beyond watching these kids get stronger and faster and run and being able to jump higher. Oh, blessings to you too, man. We're working on a new laser project that we're using just the simple lasers. If you guys remember these little simple lasers, little laser pointers, what we're going to do is put these on the new design that we have for the new fire truck. So we're going to make this like big stream of nothing but like pure fog in streams, but it's going to be like super powered with air and stuff. And we got these laser pointers we're going to put inside of it, so when it shoots out fog, it has like red lasers. So when we're working at night with all the smoke, you'll be see the lasers. It'll be awesome because it's all robotic. That's all it was. What are these, 50 cents? These are the nice ones too. This one actually has a flashlight on them that's actually pretty powerful. All right, you've seen these? Look at that. That actually has a little strobe. And look, got my laser pointer, and this thing rocks, you guys. Did you know that you can hook these up to an Arduino and mod them and then they become like a super laser? Did you know that? That's a real laser, you guys, that can actually cut shit. These. So anyway, I'm not interested in doing anything like that. All I want is laser pointers that'll be like something that'll be at night. When you turn on the fucking laser pointer, here's the zippity-doo-dah-day laser pointer. There it is. See how big that is? Okay, I can shoot this thing from a distance and actually detect smoke. So if I can do that, hook it to an Arduino, that means that I can detect smoke from a distance and give me exact coordinates. Then, if I can detect temperature from a distance, that means that I can stay even further away from a fire, connect this to a drone from a distance, from a height of over probably 30 meters above probably where the fire is, and then give an exact GPS location, and then contact the local forestry service to give them an actual GPS location to where the fire is and what direction it is headed. So there's your forestry solution. I made a video on this. I actually did an interview with me and put it on like CBC or whatever the hell that was. But, you know, it didn't get any traction. But that was a solution to all forest fires worldwide, California included. If you guys didn't pay any attention to it, I'm so sorry, but that was the whole solution. Basically, you can put out fires using drones and other things like that are all agriculture equipment we've been using for as long as we've been driving and putting wheels on stuff. So none of this stuff is new. I didn't invent anything new. I literally just looked at something that was so stupidly easy and common to figure the fuck out that you could use GPS and robotic trucks that just put them in fucking drive, set the GPS, and send this thing fogging the fuck out in a forest fire. And it'll keep a fire from spreading and nobody dies. And you can actually control it with your phone. Look at that. Look at these guys. Look at it. I do appreciate everybody chiming in. Wow, how nice. Look at that. Well, anyway, guys, I want to go further into this, the details of these things, but I haven't bought the things I need to drive a tractor, because that's all it is. It's just a tractor. You can set it up yourself. The thing is like $8,000. I don't have $8,000 to go putting into something that I don't have 8,000. You know what I mean? If you can't buy 5, then you can't buy 1. And I want to emphasize that when it comes to anything, you guys. Okay, I've just had a very, very, very kind of a little bit of a setback, and the setback has kind of cost me 2 months of very uncomfortable living, if you understand what I mean. And I have been basically forced to be indoors, inside, only been able to go to the gym, been able to go to the bathroom, been able to go by the church, been able to go by the Boy Scouts, and then do my park stuff and pay my bills, and that's it. At home I go. And all I do is nothing but work out outside, and then I definitely am feeling much better, even though I'm not able to walk so good. So I'm feeling much better, and just so you guys know, I may have something fucked up with my hip, along with my legs and my knees, and because I had some fractures, and then I had impacted discs in my neck, which affected my arms and everything else all the way down to my fingers. So all this was numb for so long. And it is all directly connected with not working out. The older you get, the more you have to work out. If you don't work out, you will die. And I'm going to tell you guys this, I don't give a fuck how old you are. If you're getting older, you got to work out hard with weights. You got to work out with muscles. You got to make yourself muscular as fuck. The more you gain in muscles, you are going to physically have more things less broken on you. And I'm going to tell you guys that as a pro level fucking bodybuilder and firefighter, that you need to keep your cardio at athletic levels. And you need to keep your diet, and you need to check your cholesterol regularly. I almost died probably twice from bad cholesterol, being out of shape, taking tons of gear, just eating garbage, trying to get as big as possible through the crappiest diet possible. I was living in a very, very stressful relationship situation. Oh boy. And you know what? It distracted me from everything. Isn't that odd? You get a hot girl and you stop going to the gym. And I'm going to tell you guys something. I'm trying to recover from a hopeless state of mind and body to which I was absolutely paralyzed daily and horrible panic attacks. And you know what's odd is that the Most High or the Great Spirit of the universe, we call God or whatever in the righteous sphere, is that I was sent to Puerto Rico for treatment. They sent me to Puerto Rico for treatment after the military because they put in an express lane for combat veterans there. So now, don't get me wrong. There was a long wait, no matter when we had to go to the doctor, however long you had to be there, and how many times you had to go see this therapist or that, or whatever's wrong with you, whatever's wrong with you. But what made it interesting is that they would pay you for driving to the hospital, pay you, for the distance. And it was a longer line for that afterwards, after you go to and I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't even want to mess with that. But what happened is that my neighbor was right next door. And I stopped drinking on the 19th of March, 2002. That's been my sobriety date since the day that I stopped going to jail, stopped doing dumb stuff, stopped getting in fights, stopped getting thrown out of bars, stopped getting in bad relationships. Oops, that was a lie. And then I have these really dramatic having met people who were in dire need of help. And one of my neighbors was John, who was a horrible mess of a man who was a paramedic in the Gulf War, and he was stationed he was put at a place called Doha, Camp Doha. I was at Ali Al Salim. So we talked several times long after the military, and he began telling me that he was on all these psych meds that I knew about that were really, really messy. They can make you dizzy, they can make you fall down in public, and I was like, whoa, John, maybe, you might want to think about trying something. And then this is just a guy that drank around the clock. He would drink bottles of whiskey. Oh boy, man, poor guy. He had liver. He looked like a pregnant man. His stomach was sticking out like this. They drained like 12 liters of fluids out of his stomach cavity. Like a pregnant man. He couldn't walk, and he was so tired all the time. And his face was all sunk in because he never ate. And he had a cat or two, and the poor things were stuck inside the house. His house was just full of trash cans full of beer bottles. No, not beer bottles, whiskey bottles, because he only drank whiskey and took all these psych meds and it was crazy because we lived on the beach. You know what I mean? God bless this guy because he lived through it. I got him, you know what? There is a thing that is saying that milk thistle is not good for you, that it doesn't do anything for the liver. But I beg to fucking differ because now I have a very live, kicking and breathing person here that actually took milk thistle, which they say doesn't work for anything. And as far as like doing anything for the liver, apparently it did. And it helped this guy for a short term after he stopped drinking and had his stomach drained. His liver started to actually recover a bit. And he was able to walk again. And I was like, whoa, this guy is like reading the fucking Wall Street Journal before I know it. So in addition to that, he's having all these good feelings and stuff. And, he is disabled, period. Okay. He and I walked in places that, okay, let's just put it this way. There's nothing left of us that is needed there, period. And a lot of us walked out of the war, and a lot of us left a lot of us there. And he was a shattered shell of a man. Former man. This dude was tall. He was jacked. He was a fucking paramedic, man. He was my dude. And he fell deep, hard. Oh, man. And I think we always tend to blame, like a girlfriend or something like that, or a wife. He got divorced because he had PTSD so bad, and they didn't know how to treat it back then. Now, we went through the 90s, man, not knowing, our ass from a hole in the ground when it came to treatment for PTSD. There's a lot better treatment now, thank God. You know what it was? I got to see and I got to experience some of the best treatment that the VA had to offer. Oh my God, it was horrible in vivo. And what we would have to do is every time we would have this session, it would be like an hour or something like that. We have to talk about any and all experiences that led up to some traumatic event that helped us, that exposed us to something that was, painful and unbearable. And so we got to the point where we were able to do it. Now, 2 or 3 of the guys had gone up to MAPS, which is in some clinic in North or South Carolina that gives veterans MDMA, which is ecstasy, okay? I am now sober 21 years, and I had no intention of taking any, psychedelics, any kind of drugs whatsoever, period. I was no. N-O spells no. I'm going to do the spiritual path, even though it might be painful, maybe it takes longer, but no, 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 no. I'm just going to walk away from alcohol, and I'm going to say no to anything that might take me back to where I was and I don't want to be. And so I had to make that decision in my mind, is that, like, look, anything that I get that makes it feels like an addiction that gets between me and goals, it needs to go. Because like a drug addict, nobody that gets between them and drugs survives. Nothing can get between a drug addict and his drug, if you think about that. And mentality of people like that is just the way it is. So I am free and clear of all and any objective ideas that I would be sober, because I do not touch anything that would be addictive alcohol-wise. I don't even touch mouthwash. So, and that, I take that very seriously. You know what I mean? You look at my history, and it just takes you back to ground one, straight back to zero. You know what I mean? I don't want to die again. No, I'm done. I am so fortunate and so stupid. God, you guys, you know what alcoholism does to guys like me? You could be the best dude, the greatest fucking dude. You know what I mean? Like the bro's bro. And you have an alcohol-related incident in the military, and your name is just shredded. You know what I mean? You no longer exist. So to avoid those things, I stayed totally clean and sober, away from all alcohol for the first 5 years of my military career. And I was a good boy. I went to church. You know what I mean? I married the good girl from home. Blonde hair, blue eyes, short shorts, and boobies hanging out. You know what I mean? Vocabulary of a 3rd grader. So she was perfect. And I took her all the way around the world with me to Switzerland and skiing, and lived in Germany, and lived happily ever after, until she said, I'm not happy. I'm going to go live with my sister in Florida, and brought the baby home with her, and suddenly lost the fucking passport and suddenly didn't want to come back. So there's that. There's always that thing about, you know what I mean, about parental alienation. Yes. I did not want to put up with her shit, and I said, why don't you go back to the States, where she suddenly lost her passport? So she couldn't come back on the fucking, you know what I mean? I had the round trip ticket. She went back. I had my passport. I was definitely going back because I wasn't missing a movement, because I was only on leave. Fuck that. So she went back and never came back to Germany. So anywho, spent the next millennium in Germany, just living like a bum, because I didn't have any pension. You know what I mean? I was a shattered mess of a man after the war. And see, people don't understand this. It's not something that gets suddenly better. It gets progressively fucking worse in certain areas, where you might improve in certain areas of PTSD, and you might be able to control your panic attacks with breathing exercises, which I've learned. Thank us all, thank God. But you can't change, you know, not feeling, or you know what I mean, is you might get a lobotomy or something like that, but there is a point where the nightmares are so repetitive that you anticipate what you're going to dream about tonight because you already know what it's going to be about, and there is no changing what's going to be happening in that nightmare. It's a little bit like sleep paralysis where the demon or the thing is on top of you, but I don't have one visually in front of me. Mine feels like a physical earthquake, like there was in Turkey. And it just shakes and shakes and shakes, but it also just shakes your mind. It shakes your mind like a coconut, and it's almost a little painful. It feels like when you swim upside down in a swimming pool and water goes up your nose and the water or the air comes out of your nose. Tell me, has anybody ever experienced that? Have you ever done a flip underwater in a pool and there's that really uncomfortable feeling of water going up inside your nose and just burning the shit out of your nostrils? Has anybody ever had that? Tell me if you've ever had that nose, water go upside your nose. Well, that's what it feels like. So this shit is like, ugh. Well, anyway, guys, back to what I was saying. I got some good news, though. Very, very good news. We did get some new equipment. If you guys did not see already, we got some hoses that we're going to teach the boys how to roll up. So I need to be on my best game because I'm going to be doing all the technical classes along with 2 other firefighters who decided to come and volunteer, like me. And it's all therapeutic, you guys. If you did not know, this is a therapy session, okay? If any of you guys are dealing with PTSD, the classes that we are doing here are to help guys to become free from within of the bondage of self. And so that we can feel better, and then little by little, be at least somewhat normal. None of us are ever going to say that we're normal. None of us. And any girl that has ever met me in their life will attest to this. They will say that I was the absolutely best man they ever had and the absolute fucking worst. Trauma in any form has a long, really, really long-term effect. It's like shampoo in the eyes. Once you've had shampoo in the eyes, that burning sensation that has made children cry for decades, and damn well it hurts like fuck. That feeling. You're like, I'm not going to do that again. So I will be very careful not to get fucking shampoo in my eyes because I'm not a fucking child anymore. And so we don't do these childish shit, stupid moves anymore. I've done it all, you guys. All of us have done some dumb shit and some fuck shit. And you know what? I don't really mind being called out for the shit that I did in the past because I've admitted to all of it already. Think about it, you guys. I was in a relationship with a Turkish girl when I was living in a station in Germany, when I was at the end of my relationship with my daughter's mother, who went back to the States, who was not coming back. So I was like, fuck it. I went and got another fucking girlfriend. Because that's how it feels better to recover that way when, old pussy doesn't work out. And then how do you recover from a broken heart? You get new pussy. And even if it's temporary, it'll just legally help you. It'll help you in the mind. But that wasn't the end of it because, again, family court, fucking rolled right over me. Because now I wasn't dealing with one child, I was dealing with 2. Because the Turkish girl that I was with suddenly wanted to become a ratchet and started being nasty to me all the time. And then trying to control everything I did, telling me I had to sit down to fucking pee and shit. I was like, fuck this. And then you know what I didn't do? I didn't move out. I stayed in her fucking house. I ate up all her fucking food, laid in the fucking bed with her, got her drunk as shit at night, and then I snuck out at night and went around it all around town, fucking drinking at bars and getting in fights. And that's exactly what I fucking did. And now I come to find out 22 years later, after I have been parentally alienated, that my son says he's relatively interested in becoming involved with me, and that I was the asshole that ran off. When all you fathers know that if you've been alienated, you know how the fucking shit goes. They either make it impossible for you to see their kid, or they fucking punish the kid because you broke up with her, which was the case with me. When I fucking hauled ass, I really fucking meant it. I said, this job sucks, I fucking quit. I was a younger guy, I was an older woman, got her fucking, knocked her up, and then she's trying to demand all this shit from me and then threatening my fucking life if I didn't fucking marry her. And I even put a recorder in my pocket because she was threatening me all the fucking time. And I was like, this is bullshit. So I'm a kid, but I'm not dumb. And I'm recording every conversation. I took this fucking recording, I brought it to my lawyer, who I paid at that point because I'm having problems. This girl stole all the money out of my bank account. Thank you for doing that, because apparently she needed it more than me. And finally find myself under my last 1,000 marks, and then stayed in a hostel before I went to the airport. I realized she had stolen my passport. So I got another passport. And I got a guy to give me money so I could get a picture. And then I was on the next plane out the fucking country. And that was the last time I ever heard from that lady, except when we were in court, when I was ordered to pay $250 a week for a kid that I would never see. Now I come to find out 22 years later, and this kid is telling me that he never saw any money whatsoever from the family court. I'm like, whoa, what? Wait a minute. And I am going to love this because now I have all the receipts for all of my child support payments, all of them. You see, you cannot leave the country if you owe child support. You cannot get a passport renewed if you don't pay your child support. You see what I'm saying, guys? You don't pay your child support? I ain't playing the game. I'm not, oh, no. I'm not playing the game. I'm not playing your game, girl. Think about this, guys. If it's an NPC mentality of a person, you got to think to yourself, if this is an NPC, why am I arguing with this fucking thing? Why am I going to argue with this thing that doesn't do anything except sell weapons for virtual coins in exchange for some stupid game? And I'm going to use my sword and go like this, and it does nothing to them. That's an NPC, a non-player character. And a lot of us are fucking non-player characters. A lot of us are fucking girls with a messed up pH. Those girls might be fucking reptilians. You don't even know. Nasty. But y'all are thirsty motherfuckers. I'm learning this shit. I want to do something to help this community, but you know what? A lot of people are like, oh, this motherfucker. Man, get over that shit. There's so much that we can learn from each other. I'm jealous. See, even when XL Pros does floors, I'm jealous because I want to build yurts. And it means that I got to do like floors and shit. And I make them out of wood. And I'm like, I don't know fucking nothing about cutting wood. And it has to be circular, so it's going to be math involved. And I'm like thinking, oh, it's going to be cool. Like we could do like, you know, little posts and do like little walkways and shit in case it like rains, because it rains a lot where we are in floods. So we could do like, you know, like walkways, wood panel or whatever, and have like overhangs and stuff because it rains like fuck there. But it would be kind of cool, you know, to have someone who knows how to do woodwork, like come in and like do like bizarre, like cool patterns and shit. And so he knows how to do that kind of stuff, but he's all the way in the States. And I'm like, man, all this wood that we have here and all these carpenters we have here doing all this same kind of like run-of-the-mill kind of stuff. And I'm not a Home Depot wood person. I'm not going to buy some kit or some vinyl shit and put it on the floor. No, because I want a fucking wood floor made out of planks of wood. And I want to be different colors and stuff, stained, and make it look like that shit. And so, you know what I mean? And make it look tight, like a pimp-ass house. And I don't live in shitty houses, you know. Every time I go to another country, people are like, ew, I heard Colombia is like fucking ugly and it's dirty and it's like always dangerous and all this stuff. My daughter flies down to Colombia and she's on the phone with her boyfriend at the time, who was Puerto Rican, by the way. And he was so jealous. He was all like, Why are you gonna go with him? He's an asshole. You know what I mean? He don't talk to you. He's an asshole. Your dad's an asshole because he doesn't spend time with you. And here it is. I'm flying her to Colombia to spend time with me for the first time that she's been allowed to come and visit me because her mother made it impossible for me to see her. So, and then made it sound like it was my fucking fault. Turn around and gaslight me and then turn around and make herself the victim. Now she's the victim. You know what I mean? Playing the victim too. The last conversation that I had with my daughter was over. It was over. Because I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm doing so well in regards to what I'm supposed to be doing as far as what my purpose in life really is. And it took me quite a few fall downs, and it has taken me many, many bankruptcies to learn that really we got to just ride the snake, let the river take us where it needs to go, and don't fight it. There's no way of fighting this thing. Whatever it is that we're on, that frequency that you hear inside of your mind, and I know you hear it too, it's something else. It changes from time to time, but that is real. That is something that we have decided in our minds that is real. We've decided that all of this is real. And the real is, I want to make everybody understand that they can actually do things to bend reality and become the best version of themselves. If hook or by crook, maybe by accident. Who the hell knows? We might be dead, and this might be just an ability that's angelic that we haven't been able to really harness. That whoever humans are alive right now, this might be a second life or something like that. That would not be extraordinary. Anyway, I don't want to go too deep into that rabbit hole, but I really can tell my own future. It happens to me in flashes. It's really awesome because I haven't been able to do it before. Now I really can do it, and all I have to do is anticipate what it is that I'm supposed to be doing, and it'll send me really broken pictures of flashes what I'm supposed to be doing, and sometimes it's wrong. It's like sometimes what's about to happen is a little bit off, but it happens anyway, and that is kind of neat, which is makes it real for me. So the way that I view that is that here's where I started having them, and I was riding down the Autobahn in Germany, and I could see in my mind a wheel coming off of this M3. It was an M3 because it was a little low-riding M3 BMW. It's like a teenager car in Germany, if you guys didn't know. M3s are just little shit cars. But this little guy's wheel came flying the fuck off like this and hit, like bounced and bounced and bounced and hit like a back window of like a DHL big old truck, and it smashed the back window. And I saw it about 30 seconds before it happened. And I saw it on the same car, but I didn't even know the car until I pulled up, and I realized that was a similar car that I'd seen in the vision. It was literally a minute prior. And so things like this started happening frequently. I was doing some electrical work in my apartment in Mexico City. I had an Airbnb because I was starving to death. Anyway, I was fortunate enough to have a very, very nice apartment in a hot spot in the middle of Mexico City that I was able to rent for $75 a night, and it brought me up to where I needed to be until I had my benefits restored to me by the grace of God. Anyway, so I'm trying to fix this place up, and I'm out of money. I have no money left whatsoever. You guys realize that if we get donations, I put everything towards whatever it is that we're getting. And everybody sees what it is, and everybody see what it costs, and see what we got. And man, praise the Lord for that, because it keeps everybody honest. But the cool thing is, I don't have to go to Home Depot and spend hundreds of dollars on stuff. So when I'm thinking in my mind is that I have to replace 5 very nice sockets on the wall that match the color of the house. Like one needs to be bronze, one needs to be white. One needs to be bronze, one needs to be white. And I need 5 of them, and they cost somewhere around $15 a piece, $8 a piece, depends on luminas and if they're dimmers or whatever. So I really wanted the maxed out ones that had like a plug and have a switch and have a dimmer. And I was like, ooh, these are going to cost money. And I would go to Home Depot and I would look and I wouldn't buy any fucking thing. And I would go home And I know in my mind, I'm like, I know there's a reason why I didn't want to buy, even though it was right in front of me and I have the money. I know this is going to cost this. But you know what? I don't want to buy it and I don't know why. And it doesn't come to me right away, and then it happens. I walk out of my apartment in Mexico City and I walk around the corner. There's like a 7-Eleven kind of store, and there's a man out front and has a blanket on the ground with all this junk. And right there are 5 Lumina dimmers with fat switches, bronze and white, bronze and white, and an extra white one that actually had a plug in it that I used for something else. And it had a fat switch with a left and right. And I was like, man, jackpot, even had all the covers. So those are the kind of short-term miracles that have come to me in flashes. And I know now at this point, because the weirdest shit has been happening to me, you guys. And now if you guys not heard, yes, that picture of that angel that was in the room with me, because that's not some bullshit Photoshop, because I told you guys, same room, same everything in a video, and there it is, moving right there in the same room with me, and you guys saw the feathers. So I ain't making this shit up. I don't want to lie to none of you fucking guys. They come back and say, oh, you made this shit up, we photoshopped, this is bullshit. No, 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 no. Guys, remember, man, prior to any of this stuff, yes, I'll believe in God, and I'll read the Bible, and I believe in that stuff, but fucking seeing angels and seeing the Virgin of Guadalupe and all this stuff, Catholic stuff, I didn't know, no way. And then they happened to me. So there's something weird happening, okay? Weirdest than the weirdest shit, but it's good in a good way. It's weird in a good way, and it made me just like this thing that I didn't know that I was. And now other people are becoming the same thing that I was, which is great. And this woman that I stayed with named Lupita, she said to me in English, she doesn't speak any English whatsoever. And she turns to me and she said, you are a mystic. And I was like, whoa, you are a mystic in English. She doesn't speak any English at all. Never spoke English to me. I never spoke English to her. And she said to me, you are a mystic, man. I'm like, this is all too weird. The daughter-in-law comes to town. We're out in the woods. We're out there in the deep, dark part of Puebla. And this girl reads these cards that are like similar to tarot cards, but they are not tarot cards. They're angelic cards. And they use angels and scripture and all this stuff. But to me, it's all a bunch of jibber jabber, and it's all a bunch of tarot cards all repackaged into something else. Because I don't know nothing about no tarot cards in the Bible, and I ain't about to start. So if any of y'all gonna want to fight about it, you know what? I don't care what you do with your money, with your time, with your tarot cards. I will tell you, don't bring it in my house. I'm gonna tell you that shit right now. However, what this lady did for me was help me recognize that there were wonderful things going on in my life that I could not see. They were conversations, and there were other rooms that I couldn't hear, that motherfucker could hear the whole time. And there were things going around the corner from me that I couldn't see. And that motherfucker was there watching the whole time from above, videotaping it with his old school camera, flip phone. And he's watching me right now. And he's with me right now. He was with me a year almost to date in November, I believe. November has been a rough one for me because November, wonderful lady died. In November, my service dog died. I was crushed. I mean, I've had funerals to go to where I cried about things, but nothing destroyed me worse than losing a service dog. That broke my heart. I got one here. That's what these are. Okay, this is a half dachshund which is a little salchicha, a little hot dog, mixed with a Chihuahua. It's a docile little long-eared dog that absolutely will stay in your lap 24 hours a day if you let it. And then the other type of service dogs we have are for little kids, and those are Labradors. And what I have is an English setter here. Come here, come here, come here, come here. Look who it is. Who's that? Come here. And his name is Amigo, and he is right there, and he's just hanging out. Now you can see that the reflective colors in his eyes is green. Okay, it's very special on some of these dogs. And sometimes when their reflective eyes are red, they tend to be more wildish, animalish, and I don't have any reference to this, guys. Don't talk, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't know anything what the fuck I'm talking about. Do not quote me. I'm a fucking moron when it comes to this stuff. But the reflective colors in dogs' eyes a lot of times determines how sweet they are. And all these dogs, as you can see, have that one reflective greenish color in their eyes. It doesn't have a reddish color. So if you ever see like wild animals out in the wild with a flashlight or a beam or something like that, and you see like deer or you see hogs and they have like red, see what I'm saying? Okay, it's a big difference with some domesticated animals. Bullshit. Motherfucking a lot of dogs have wolves in them and stuff, and some of them will attack you and bite you on the fucking ears, rip off your fucking balls, and then eat your lips. I'm not even joking. See them coming at you with sharp, pointy fucking teeth like that. They're poisonous. Even that. I'm not even kidding. But dogs are good for you. If you're a veteran and you want to come down to Mexico and you want to do with service dog training, you would be my fucking guest, because we have one of the hardest trainers from Italy that you ever met in your life. And he is going to rock your world. His name is Mirko. Mirko. And you get to work with Da Vinci and Mirko with service dogs. Or you can work with rescue dogs, explosive dogs, police dogs, army dogs, dogs that work with other dogs, and dogs that work with children, older people, children with autism. So then you go into horses, and then we go into beekeeping, and all of these are nothing more than things that we use to help veterans recover from PTSD and traumatic incidents. So if that interests you, I'm telling you guys that the first time I've ever had to work with bees, my heart was racing. I had to learn how to calm myself down because my whole mask was covered in bees. But I had another option. See, it was either work with bees and get honey, or not work with bees and get nothing. And so at the point in my life where I didn't have anything, and really, you know what I mean? A lot of us had to wait for a really long time to get a pension, you know what I mean, after the military. And so doing whatever it takes to survive was one of those things, was beekeeping. And I didn't know anything about beekeeping, but when I happened to have as a mentor, who just happens to be everybody's mentor, from now I understand every generation of beekeepers has the same teacher. And historically, he has been the man when it comes to bees. And so when I told him my situation, he was like, come and train. And then I said, absolutely. And then he said, hey, why don't you come with me? We have a bee rescue right up here where these mansions are. And I was like, sure. And he's like, I'll be at your house at midnight. And I'm like, midnight? So he's like, yeah. And midnight, we'll be there. Okay, and he's ding dong, midnight, here he was, honk the horn, motherfucker, let's go. And go get these bees. We go get the bees. I'm in darkness with nothing but his lamp in Vism, and I have the box. I'm ready to put, you know what I mean. I'm just standing there. I'm not letting nothing happen. We're smoked, so there's no pheromones going out, so we can't be stung by the bees. We take all of the honeycombs out. The cool thing was we put the light down inside the box from his cell phone, and we got the queen, and we put her on this little special clamp, put her down inside, turned the light on, and all of the bees went inside the box. And then my trainer put the lid on the box with his little hammer, tick, 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 and then we put it in his vehicle. Took off all of our equipment, We're very quiet, by the way. Got back in his truck, drove that box back to the farm, set it out there, and then the next morning, when we worked again with the bees and stuff, we separated all the bees and had a wonderful time, and it was good. It was good. Well, broken. I don't know what's broken, man. So, XL Pros, what we were talking about. How you doing, my bro? Chester Thomas says, Professor, what's up, man? Just so you guys know, XL Pros and I were talking about beekeeping as part of something that was actually very helpful for PTSD for veterans who have panic disorder. And what happens with the bees is that they give off this vibration. You give off a vibration too. And man, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm not even. It's weird, but you get a weird connection with the bees. Like they're not there to attack you once they realize that you're not there to attack them. They actually are pretty cool. They're like, "What do you want us to do? What's happening? What's happening?" It is, man. I didn't think it would be. I made them scared the fuck out of me the first day. Be honest with you, but once I did, it helped me a lot. Then I come to find out that there's this other program that was called Cadence Therapy. Okay, now if you guys don't know what calling cadence is, was it therapeutic cadence or something like that? But anyways, this Marine, and he was just like a singer, you know what I mean? He was marching, singing, and all this stuff, da 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 da, and he had all these people singing along with him and stuff. And it turns out that that is actually therapeutic. They do scenarios where they pretend like they're back in basic training and doing all this like word salad shit that the drill instructors used to scream at people. And they were like, why is it? Well, that's a word salad. What they do is they try and trick you into telling on yourself or calling someone a liar when you're not really trying to say that they're a liar. You're trying to say, no, I didn't do what you're accusing me of. And like, are you calling me a liar? And no, I didn't call you a liar. And then they would accuse, then it would be another drill instructor jump on him again and say, what? Did you say Sergeant Smith's not a liar? What did you say? What did you say? I'm tired of this guy. Is he the one? Yeah, he's the one. Oh, you're the one, huh? And he doesn't even know. He just made it up. That's the guy right there. He's the one. He's that one that keeps trying. And you see, none of this shit is to motivate you whatsoever. It's to make you quit. So if you can manage to get through this bullshit, and it sucks because it's terrifying. And I can give you some of my very, very best drill instructor lines in another video, but I would love to do this in coordination with the guy whose name is Dan Sparks. And Dan Sparks is also a retired military, and I believe he is just now leaving Vietnam or headed to Philippines, I believe. And he's another passport bro. And I would do that. I would definitely do a live with another veteran, and we would talk about basic training because there were some stories that we could talk about. Guys, I mean, basic training sucks so bad that it's impossible for us to forget. War is so bad that it's impossible for us to even put into fucking words how taking the words and taking the wind out of your body and taking the temperature, dude, it's 130 fucking degrees and your temperature drops to 40 in your face, cold sweats, you know that you're about to die. It feels so bad. It's a punishing and piercing feeling in your stomach that you are very close to being dead. You are so close to being dead. Do you realize how fortunate you are? And then a weird one, man. I'm going to tell you guys a very bad one. You know, I worked with a guy from Egypt. His name was Demirdash. Demirdash was the driver for the water fill. And so every week he would come down and he would fill up the tanks to Prince Sultan Air Base, the water towers. And so every day we would practice English and Arabic. And so he would know that's not true because no. He was teaching me Arabic, but he was teaching me Farsi because he knew several languages, but he wanted to learn more English. So he would say things like, "Shui Shui, when are you gonna go?" Because he called me Shui. He'd say, "Shui Shui, um, when are you gonna come?" Water, Su, Su. It's Su means water, so you guys know water. Su. Um, and he would say, Monday, Friday, Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Friday, and so he never knew how to do the days of the week because he didn't know how to speak English. But he would just say anything that he knew, and he really thought he was speaking English. It was amazing. We became tight friends. He actually invited me to come to Egypt to meet his family, and so he and I were transporting water right off of Prince Sultan Air Base. And we were run off the road and rolled the fucking truck over, and he was killed, and I lived. And so his 15 minutes called Allah time. Allah time means that during that 15 minutes, no one is allowed to help you when you are in a fatal accident. You have 15 minutes. It's called Allah time. That's why they cut the seat belts out of all the fucking trucks. Fortunately for me, was fucked up shit for me. And you know what I mean? And he was just a poor Egyptian man. They called him TCN, third country nationals. They didn't mean anything to anybody. They man probably make $1 a day. And we would drive tractor trailers of water back and forth, sometimes 80 miles to some radar station, or maybe it was Yusamin or something like that. But we were like eastbound and down, motherfucking rolling up and trucking. We gonna do what they say can't be done. Damn, 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 damn. We got a long way to go. And we would sing this fucking bullshit song because he didn't speak English and I didn't speak Arabic. So we would teach each other like goofy ass bullshit while we were driving fucking tractor trailer for fucking ever. And insurgents and assholes blew up the fucking base that we were at. It was called Yusaminum. And Yusaminum was just this little bitty fucking cafeteria motherfucker. And you'd go in there and you would say, "What's up?" to all the dudes from Sri Lanka, all the people that worked in the cafeteria. And every time, because we came in the back, because I work with all the fucking high level officers and shit. And so we would come in the back and I would say, "Okay, guys," and I would talk to them like they were friends, but I would say, "Sir." I'd say, "Guys, listen, you need to just keep eyes front. Don't talk to the chefs." I wasn't saying that because I was being elitist. I want to tell you exactly what happened is because they were not the most sanitary motherfuckers in the fucking world. They would have like their hands dipped down inside of pots full of rice with rubber gloves on like this, you know what I mean? Like the little shit gloves, the little sterile gloves. And they would be like mixing the rice up like this. And we would be walking through with all these officers. And then my eyes would be like this, being like, "Fucking no, what are you doing?" And I would have to be cool because I'd have to pretend in front of these generals and shit that nothing is happening back here that's weird. When the general when the general went to the door, the guy, Kia, whatever the fuck he was, his little fucking his ponytail boy or whatever the shit, I don't understand that, had the goddamn door open, and just as the door wham slammed, all the pies, there were like all these stacks of pies, there were flies all over these fucking pies that were like stacked to here. And like wham, and they're like, "Oh," and the general didn't see anything. I didn't see shit. I walked right in the fucking, and they fucking opened the fucking door. Everybody standing at attention. "Hey guys, you know what I mean? It's like y'all doing the best you can, sir." And I mean, you know, it's like we're the tip of the spear. We're always gonna be on top. We're always gonna be the first. We're gonna go in there. We're gonna fucking fuck shit up. You know what I mean? The first, we're gonna come in there and kick some ass. We're not standing around. Okay, and you know what I mean. Y'all need to take note of these young officers over here because this motherfucker right here will whoop your ass. And if y'all ain't having any jiu-jitsu, I'm gonna say something. To put the choke on your ass like that shit. It's the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life as a man. So anyway, you have to learn how to conduct yourself in situations that are high stress for one, and then going through a cafeteria that is covered with every serious, sanitary violation that a health department would have a field day in Saudi Arabia. Oh, look at this guy. Okay, through Dirty Folks. All right, you know what I mean. Good thing, man. Dirty Folks hit 1,000 subscribers. We were hoping, because see, we don't fuck around with lies. Okay, one of the things that Dirty Folks is authentic. Okay, and one of the things that he needed was 1,000 subscribers. He was at 750, and you know how damn easy it is that if you were not playing by the rules, and you could get banned as buying subscribers and views and all that shit. But that shit don't work anymore. And all it is just wasting money and wasting time, and they're going to end up flagging your channel. And that's what none of us in the righteous sphere are interested in. We don't want to do anything that would be considered fuckery, because that's just going to take us back. Because our message alone is enough to get us banned. You know what I mean? So if we do any fuckery, they're going to have all eyes on us and go, oh, here are these guys that are so whatever, bad boys over here talking all these things about these innocent people and all that stuff. And they're actually a bunch of men, and they're actually getting along together. Oh, spooky story. You know what I mean? It's not even funny anymore. It's a joke. You know what I mean? To actually consider that a guy like myself, who did nothing but military service overseas, is suddenly falling under this category of we're predators or something like that because we decided to live overseas. That's not fair to anybody. You know what I mean? I decided on my own to stay overseas and remain overseas. And then now we have a whole, passport bros movement, Veterans Without Borders. You know what I mean? There's a number of things that you and I, we all on this team, man team. Yeah, I'm in Mexico. I'm down in Mexico. Mexico may become like the United States. And I'm giving you guys a heads up, because it has food that it produces on its own. The United States doesn't have anything that it produces on its own. And I've offered space on my ranch to people who need it and want it badly, who are willing to put in the time to build their own houses and to support these, causes that we're doing. And that is bringing people in, giving them therapy. And yeah, you know what? You could come down to visit. I wouldn't move here. I would not move to Mexico. I am not here permanently. I am only here on tour, if you would. And this one here is because we open up fire schools, and they are all funded by us, permanent, us as veterans and stuff, through our own contributions and no government interaction, none whatsoever. And so what we do is we set up schools that are like military schools, but it's firefighter schools. So it's a whole different category, and this helps boys who need masculine influences in their life. Because if they don't have a masculine influence, they only have their mother, then they're going to end up being emotional. Then they're going to be fucking weak. They're going to be emotionally unstable, getting into fights, getting thrown in fucking jail. And then they grow up being deadbeats like me, a high-value deadbeat. You know what I mean? But, I had some young guy talk shit on one of the lives earlier. He didn't know who I was, so that's okay. He didn't know who I was. And I was like, I just said, yeah, we're all a bunch of high-value deadbeats. It was a joke. The guy took it pretty seriously. We don't roll like that, motherfucker. Hey, motherfucker. Hey, motherfucker. I'm like, oh, okay. He's obviously not he's not a Kevin Samuels fan. He was probably in high school when Kevin Samuels was popping. You know what I mean? Anyway, I digress. So we did a lot of things for our own self. I would definitely move to Thailand, man. Listen, go to Thailand. Listen, do the shortcuts. If you need to go back to the States, do what you got to do. But you have to go east. You have to go west. You have to fly west. You're not going to fly east to go to Thailand. You're going to fly in through California, probably go through Hawaii. You know what I mean? So you're going to go the damn longest way possible. And it's going to be 24 hours to get there. Mexico is 3 hours from mostly anywhere in the United States, 3.5 hours. It's not hard to fucking get in. There's not a big deal. Flights are cheap. You don't have to have an exit ticket. You can fly one way. A lot of people do. But every single time I have tried that, I have been snagged. So If you have a continual flight going somewhere else, like let's say Guatemala City, which is the closest airport in another country that you can say, "Oh, I'm going to go there," and you can just continue your flight, go to Guatemala City. We have been asked to come to Antigua. They gave me an honor. I want to tell you guys something. I'm not sitting on my hands over here. Okay, it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be here, and it's been a year. It's been 1 year since we opened this school, and they told us we weren't allowed to do a lot of stuff, and we did it anyway. And I just we just been blessed, man. I mean, on this street alone, I was by myself. Nobody gave a shit. I had people lined up that were coming in from Germany, coming in from Canada to help me set up. 2 guys came, 8 guys who were all strung out came, 2 guys who were out of shape came. One guy was a complete fraud, said he was a firefighter and all this fake paperwork from Colombia. Bullshit artist. Anyway, that's another story. So I've had another but kind of a rough start, and then Jesus. Then having people telling that other stations feel like you're in competition with them and all this stuff. I'm like, how am I competing with anybody? Right now I only work with children that are 7 to 12 years old. No one else is doing that. Teaching them how to do push-ups. Teaching them how to say yes or no, ma'am. You know what I mean? Yes or no, sir. It's not that complicated. No one else is doing it, so I'm not in competition with anybody. It's hard to burst your bubble. We're not putting out fires. We're not working for the government. We're not working for the municipality. We're a bunch of guys that are just doing training for guys who want to be firefighters, and we're teaching them how to go through the book. Okay? There's no harm there. Nobody's breaking any laws. And you know what? It isn't work. It's voluntary. It's totally voluntary. Everybody who comes here is a volunteer. People pay to stay here. All right? We pay to stay here, okay? Because it's like living in a cheap house. Hey, you pay $500 a month, you live in a fucking mansion. You learn how to become a firefighter. Not a bad deal. Shit, you get certified after a year. I'm down. So that's the thing. Some people don't seem to understand that. It's like you can go work in a municipality and you can go to their fire school, but it's all in Spanish. Do you want to go to fire school in Spanish? Put a 1 in the chat if you like going to fire school in Spanish. If you want to go to fire school in English, you put a 2 in the chat. I don't know about you guys, but unless I was a native Spanish speaker, I would not do as I did, and that was go through fire school in Spanish. Because there were a lot of things that I was confused about that are just common sense shit. And I didn't know because I didn't know the Spanish word for it. I'll give you an example. We have a fire. Sergeant tells me to go get a fucking chingadera out of the thing. I don't know what a chingadera is. Cabo, what's the chingadera? The fucking sergeant wants a chingadera. He goes, which chingadera? I said, I don't fucking know. And I'm taking he wants a nozzle or something. I come back with a nozzle and I'm doing the best I can. But that is how far removed they are. If you don't understand perfect Spanish, then they're going to just set up for failure. I'm not going to let that happen to you. You know what I mean? You come down here and you put your time in and you get ripped and you get strong. That's the whole thing. You need to be so in shape. You need to be like ready for the Olympics. To run upstairs and having, you know what I mean? You have to be carrying stuff, wearing gloves, wearing masks, wearing a tank, and you're going to be trying to crush it. The reason why you need to crush it because we're in competition with other firefighters from other places. Hold on a second. That was an explosion. Coronavirus. Probably the first one. I want the original. I want the original one again, like the original Coke. Listen, guys, I gotta go because my battery says so. My Android is telling me what to do. But I am the professor. Y'all subscribe, like this video. Write me some messages down there in the comments, man. That helps me a lot. And I'm out.